On my mind, gotta hustle and grind. Financial literacy always on my mind. I'm stacking knowledge, no time to waste. Gotta invest smart, gotta keep up the pace. I'm reading books, learning all the tricks, studying the market, making calculated picks.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Reckless Raidinaire, and we are back at it again. Special episode. It's the first Monday of the month, and as per usual, we are given the financial breakdown from last month. So this being the first Monday of December, you will be getting the breakdown of the numbers as they came in from November. These are fresh off the press. Honestly, this is one of my favorite parts of the month because I'm a firm believer that what is tracked changes. What you're paying attention to, what you're hyper-focused on will improve. But first, before we get into these numbers, have you hit that like button? If this is your second time here, have you hit the subscribe yet? Even if you're hate watching, even if you want to see these numbers be bad. Spoiler alert, this month they're not. So the hate watchers, y'all might want to dip off because you ain't going to have nothing to say to me this month. But if you're a hate watcher, give me that thumbs down. Thumbs it down. Hate me. Hate me with all your little internet finger can do. Share this video because these breakdowns, I think, are of a little bit more value in general, just because you're getting to see the numbers, how they're breaking down from your average Joe who, has curtailed his lifestyle in a certain way, living a little bit counter the normal. I'm not spending all the money to impress people that don't like me. Granted, when we upgrade this car, when I get my new car, going to be a little mini flex. It's going to be a mini flex. It's not going to be a big flex. It's going to be a mini flex most likely. But I'm getting something. I always get cars that I want. Since the last car, I've decided that I'm going to get a car that I want that makes sense for where I'm at in my life at the time that I need the car. But I've got some creature comforts that I want. So we're going to be getting a new vehicle, probably be shooting some content from within the vehicle. Something. I don't know. We'll see. But the numbers are in. I like these numbers. We're making progress forward. We're entering into the Bitcoin bull run, which is our predominant core of our future financial strategy. We've got some other hacks that we're implementing that we're going to be talking about in some of the other videos. Obviously, beginning of the month, you're going to get this. Obviously, on Monday, welcome to the first full week of December. Tuesday, you're going to have the portfolio update, my traditional financial portfolio. Now, this is something that I have never realistically taken seriously until August of this last year. There's some opportunities that are mimicking some things that we had in the crypto space. So you know what? Brought my money back. Some of it. Not all of it. Not even close to half of it. But some of it. So we've got that rolling out because we are planning on getting retired out of that portfolio because we have some income generating opportunities that have come to us. We also have part of our crypto investments are now on the traditional finance side, again, because of opportunities. So we've got some of that being built up as well. Tuesday, obviously, crypto portfolio updates. You get an update on when the moves and shakes moves that we've been doing. Wednesday, you'll get crypto portfolio updates. Thursday, you will have our general future financial episode drop that we do on Thursday, which will be random topic of whatever I feel like talking about for that video. And Friday, we have Operation Debt. Now, I noticed that a lot of you guys don't want to look behind the curtain and look at my debt situation. I understand a lot of people don't like talking about that, but we are moving forward on that. And I think it's going to be good, useful for should some people end up in some spaces. Hopefully it's not in a space to where you're clearing out $28,000 in debt because of a medical emergency. I wouldn't wish that on anybody, especially not the one that I had. So there is that. But should you find yourself there, the content is there. Obviously, this channel is all things Bag Talk all the time. So we are documenting the journey as it happens, fully transparent. And I love it. So Operation Net will be on Friday. if I need a chance, or y'all want to talk about debt before Friday, is it because it's on Friday? Because like we could switch these episodes around. Drop me some information. Give me some feedback down in the comments on what you guys think about that. That'll be my first question for the show. Now let's jump into it. So first and foremost, one of the key metrics that I have every year is I have a net worth metric that I'm reaching for. And as of the month of November, as those numbers have come in, because we are tied to crypto, we have blasted past my target of being worth $250,000, which is dope. That means my net worth is above $250,000, and it is not mostly my 401k, which is non-existent. It is not my house, which is a small portion of my net worth, but it is nominal. It's not even 50%. So I like that. Obviously, we're looking at becoming on that net worth millionaire deal. I want to be more liquid than the rest of these guys, because all the rest of these guys that get on here and talk about stuff, and apparently I'm being gate kept out of a lot of conversations because I carry debt, and apparently you're not supposed to be talking about financial literacy if you carry debt, even though all of my mentorship, every wealthy person that I know in the real world that's not on YouTube carries debt in the same fashion that I do. Like, they use it to keep money in the market to be able to invest, and then they pay it off when it behests them because they're making more than the debt. Now, do I like the active emergency debt that is on my credit card right now? Absolutely not. And we might be making a couple of pivots. I'm looking at a couple of moves that I can make to make that 0% just like the rest of the debt. But with that said, we're carrying a little bit of debt. So apparently I'm supposed to hush my mouth because I'm not rich yet. Documenting the journey, which is cool. But I mean, when you're testing stuff that's actually in the field versus sitting behind a computer that is so far removed from that scenario that what you're saying, the information is either very, what's the polite way to put it? It's just dated information. I mean, I tell people all the time, even when it comes to crypto, which is my bag. I've been in the space for 11 years. The stuff that I did in 2013 was not the stuff that I was doing in 2017. The stuff that I was doing in 2017 was not what was being replicated in 2020. The stuff that I did in 2020 is no longer valid now. That's the reason I re-show you my active portfolio of what I'm building up to give you guys some idea of what it looks like in current market. Not what I did umpteen years ago that got me ahead, that put me in a different position, that changed the trajectory of my life, that put me on a different path than the one that I was on financially. That's made it so that I can retire in 36 months should I choose to. But those things, because stuff doesn't always consistently work. Now, I understand the financial principles are age old, but again, anybody can go read The Richest Man in Babylon. Anybody can go grab Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I hate referencing that book because I feel that that's dated, but Scott Trench's Set for Life. Go grab that book. Anybody can go grab that, and from a principle standpoint, you're going to be all right. And anybody can get on here and tell you these things. Not everybody's getting on here showing you their brokerage account. Not everybody's getting on here giving you the play-by-play of what they're actually holding in crypto in their active portfolio, and then referencing back and telling you that the majority of this, the entire goal, is to get more Bitcoin and Ethereum and Chainlink. Somebody's got to tell the truth. And I say that all the time. I try to say it at least once an episode over here because it just gets ridiculous. But I'm not going to gatekeep other people that are actively in the trenches doing it. Now, we can argue efficiency and efficacy all day because math is math, regardless of whether you're rich already and at the mountaintop or whether you're in the trenches and you're working your way up. And the debt conversation is the dumbest one because it's simple math. If you're making more than whatever your credit card's charging you in interest, then mathematically, it makes sense to hold the debt. It makes way more sense because they don't want to talk to you about opportunity costs. And I understand that people talk to these influencers and they're like, oh, I don't want to miss these investments. Well, guess what? If I would have missed the 2016 into 2017 bull run, my life would have been different financially if I would have missed that bull run. If I would have missed the 2020 bull run, my life would have been completely different financially than if I would have not than me participating. I wouldn't own this house that I'm in right now. Well, townhome. I don't want to be cocky. It's a townhome. I love it. I like it. It's mine. If I would have been missing the 2024 bull run, I wouldn't have been doing any investing during the 2024 bull run because I wanted to pay off this medical debt as it was coming in. And I was going to scramble and just put all the money towards paying off the debt. I would not be making the income or have the income vehicle that I have right now. And I would not have gotten that 45% run up. I would not be sitting with my 40% gain, which noted is 10%, actually over 10% above what my credit card interest rate is. I wouldn't be sitting on that growth right now. I would not be getting those checks that are paying for the debt right now, while also continuing to allow me to have a savings rate that has been very consistent. Because I've been looking, we've been doing this since August when we built the portfolio, but we've been doing these monthly updates consistently above 40%, which is above what the gurus are telling you to do. Showing you that a different way to do this. And not all the gurus say this, because now you're starting to have those conversations for people that are steeped in the math of it, that believe in math, not how you feel, not getting people to feel like they're being holier than thou while they're shooting themselves in the foot financially by going about something that maybe or maybe not be financially sound. But I mean, I've been doing this for 11 years. I've been in crypto for 11 years. Before the 11 years, I had 10 years of paying off an original set of debt that was higher than the debt load that I'm paying off right now, because we was above 30 that first bull run. I wish we would have been doing this then, because we would have had that as a reference as well. But I've cleared, like, I know what it is to wait until the peak of the bull run, and if I want to, I can pull some Bitcoin out and just clear my debt at any given time, because we are sitting at over 200K in crypto. I ain't worried about this less than 28 now. We started tracking it at 28, so I give y'all something to look at. Less than 28 now. And I'm not worried about it, considering it's less than 10% of something that's going up exponentially higher than the 27 or 22%, 22 to 27% that I'm getting taxed by the credit card company. I'm making more than that on all fronts. Everything's over the 22%, because I understand you guys, these old dudes, or these dudes that want to do what their grandparents was trying to do, that they saw the man do, that they saw all these other people do that worked. And it does work. It's just not as efficient. So, like, I'm not hating on it, but y'all's metric of a good job and my metric of a good job are two totally different numbers, because of the industry that I'm in. For 11 years, I've done my 10,000 hours. Okay. Like, I've done it. I've been active in it. I've made money. I've lost money. I've lost whole salaries. It is what it is. In the market that I'm in, a good job is 30%. And for those of you who are not familiar, we've done this. I've said it in multiple videos. That's the risk-free annual return for Bitcoin. So if I don't know what to do with the money, I can go park it in Bitcoin and get a risk-free 30% annual return over the long term. Does that mean it's going to be at 30% every single year? No, but when you average it out, the risk-free annual rate of return for Bitcoin, again, math people, is 30%. So as long as my credit cards are below 30%, like, this isn't a hard decision for me to want to pay back those bad debts slower to continue building in the market, because I'm making 10% compounding. that entire time. So like for me, the math works out different. And then at any given bull run year, I can just pay the debt off. Like I can float it, I can pay it off. But we're not even doing that. We're trying to pay it off. We're paying it off out of the cash flow. So this last 36 months that I got working, we'll be doing that. After we get through that, we will not be having consumer debt, because as we're building out these portfolios, I am taking into consideration not repeating past mistakes. Now, had I ever experienced a medical emergency pre this? No. No, I hadn't. So that wasn't even on my radar. But again, you're getting older, surgeries and stuff are needed, stuff happens. Now I know. Now I know. And we're going to solve for the problem as we go, which is totally, in my opinion, totally fine. But when we're talking about things that mathematically are working, it's about efficiency and efficacy. Beyond that, I don't care how you feel. You don't have to like the investment. You just will have a less efficient portfolio than what I get. You'll have less efficient and efficacious results than what I have as we're building. Because then once we get to the $1 million, and I'm talking from the mountaintop, people are going to be like, oh, well, you're lucky. And I'll be like, no, we got to document a process of, because like, we're not even going to, like, we're going to be probably crossing the threshold the way that we're projecting the numbers out, crossing the threshold of income, of replacing my income next year. So we're going to be crossing that threshold. That's going to be one of my goals. We're having to update the goals going into next year, since we blew by this goal. Now, this goal, I didn't think we were going to hit, honestly. Like, I didn't know. And I was kind of factoring in the bull run starting, and I was kind of, we were just constantly buying assets, but I didn't think that we were going to, the $250,000 net worth was a stretch. That was my stretch goal. Now, my stretch goal for next year is it's gonna be substantially lower than this year's stretch goal, and we are looking at $350,000 in net worth. And the reason I say that, because we're going to blow by it, and I'm going to say this now because I'm going to be beating my chest. I'm going to talk my trash, because this happens in crypto every 4 years. We're in a bull run cycle. So I'm fully expecting to blow past my goal of $350,000 in net worth next year. That's adding an additional, actually where we're sitting at now. Actually, you know what? We might have, okay, so stretch goal for next year is getting updated to 400K. I'm writing it down now. And the reason being is because we're almost at 300 now. But we are probably going to blow by that. And when I say probably, I'm saying highly likely, highly probable. But that's because crypto is going to run up, which means that all of my theses are tied to crypto. So my portfolio is highly volatile. It will run up with Bitcoin. It will come down with Bitcoin. And the positions that we're adding in, that we're going to be adding in, are going to be the same. They're going to be volatile stocks, including in the traditional financial portfolio. As those come down, I'm looking at them stabilizing around 350 to 400,000. But I'm making the stretch goal 400,000 because obviously I will be investing. I will be adding to these pots. So I'm making the note. Yeah. So as we're adding to it, I don't think I'm going to save that much next year. But as my income increases and as we're constricting the debt, that's more income that will just be used to invest, because I'm not upgrading my quality of life a whole lot. Like, we're getting a new car. We're going to have to pay that car off. But we're waiting until after we get this medical debt. Like, we're not just stacking stuff. Like, I could stretch, force myself, press hard, and stack to make those things realities now, so that I could throw it on the internet and say, look at what I'm doing, and da-da-da-da. And then have to actually worry about stuff when I go to sleep. And I don't want to have to worry about something going wrong, because we're hitting that point of escape velocity. So with the net worth, we have had an increase of $49,318.96. Big push, consistent with Bitcoin trying to get to 100K. Now, we did not see 100K by Turkey Day. maybe market open. You might be catching this video in the morning, getting that morning cup of joe, that morning financial prick in your ear to get set straight financially for the week. And you might, maybe, be looking at 100K Bitcoin. I don't know. I think it'll be sometime during the month. I think we're going to break it. And I'm hoping that Bitcoin does it spitefully, just to upset Wall Street Trapper. And it's not to upset him. It's to give him the Christmas miracle that I told him he's going to get, because he was dead wrong about Bitcoin not being able to hit 100K. You don't tell Bitcoin what it's going to do. But our net worth has jumped. It has run. We are making those plays. We are buying MicroStrategy like a madman. We're still buying Bitcoin. We have the Bitcoin standard. We've wrapped MicroStrategy into the Bitcoin standard. More on that to come. We've tweaked it a little bit. And yeah, things are going well in that respect. The net worth is growing. Now we're going to get to the savings percentage, because this month was a blowout month. This was a great month. Our savings rate this month was 55.67%. Now, would it have been that had we paid off all the debt and put all the money going towards all the debt and not put any more money into the market? That's going to get exponential growth over this upcoming bull run with the information that we have. Now, I'm not saying that this is for everybody, but like when you're talking about people that are math-based, that are actually tracking their metrics, that are actually showing their portfolios, and not just that they bought, they're actually showing the positions and then going and giving the clarification on it. 55.67%. Now, is it always this high? Absolutely not. But we're working towards it, because as the debt comes down and as the income goes up, all we're going to be doing is saving. And by saving, I mean getting money into the market, because I don't count money sitting as saving. Our credit score took a little bit of a hit. It's 726. Obviously, we've got that debt that we're working at, and the way that the numbers come in, I am not gamifying that. Like, I'm just paying as it comes in, kind of not looking at, because I don't care what the credit score is, because I can still access anything that I need out of this pool, because I've already got the credit. I've already got the pool of available credit that I'm not using. But us being up over 30% in that 30% wheelhouse, it is not what the algorithm likes. And this is the reason this number is supposed to fluctuate. People that sit there and talk about, I got an 820 credit score, like, that just means that you're like going and paying off stuff and you've accrued that credit score, but you're not really using the credit. Now, could I use a personal loan and get this out of credit card debt territory and wrap it up into that? Yes, that would be an option. Could I do a HELOC on the house? Yes, that could be an option. The reason I'm not using those tools is, A, I'd like to, most of my credit cards, the money outside of the 12,000 that we got running in the wild, is tied into 0% loans, like cash advance loans. So I paid 4.5% up front, because there's no such thing as zero. There's no such thing as a free lunch. But having good credit does give you access to cheap money. 4.5%, especially at this point, is cheap money, as long as you can pay it back within 12 months. So we're on a time crunch for a couple of those. We have the one in the wild that I'm looking at as we go into this hibernation period at the end of the year, shifting over to a one of those 0% balance transfer loans onto another card. We're going to be looking at shifting some of that around to redeploy that debt. Obviously, we're going to have to pay another 4.5% up front. Duh. But for the 3 months that I'm really not supposed to be taking anything out of the income portfolio, that will give me that breathing room for those 3 months. So that way, after tax season, we can come back on it like gangbusters. So that's probably going to be the play. We're going to be in a little bit of a holding pattern of sorts. And then we're just going to have to look at our spending, because like at that point, we'll be back into real life levels. My savings percentage is going to go through the roof for those 3 months in preparation for tax season. We're going to be reinvesting everything into the income portfolio with the goal of, since I just started this in August through 2024, our 2024 calendar year, we're looking at like $12,000 in additional income that I made for the year. We also have some, so we'll see if we have enough to clear because they just raised the standard deduction up to $15,000. We'll see what that comes out in the wash, but I'm pretty sure I'm done getting tax returns at this point. As far as getting that lump sum of money or anything back, I'm probably going to adjust my W-2 so that the state and IRS pull a little bit more, because normally that's what I do to offset that. But we're also this year we won't be, because we're maxing out the HSA. Now, from a tax perspective, for the rest of the time that I'm working, the 401k might come into play as a tax advantage, but we'll see what that looks like. But I'm planning on only having to use my dividend check to repay whatever tax burden or tax liability that I have. Like, that's what I'm planning on. Like, when April rolls around, that dividend check, we're going to be keeping that in cash, moving it over to the bank, have it set in the bank, and hopefully whatever I owe off of the additional $12,000 will cover that. And then moving forward, that is the tax strategy for that account for every year. Is the first 3 years I turn it off, reinvest it in the portfolio, kick those dividends up even more, and then hopefully averting having to sell off any of the underlying assets and just being able to actually pay my taxes back with the dividend check that comes in April, and then having that in cash. And then as we move into tax season, that's sitting in the bank account and ready to just deploy. And whatever we don't have to spend out of it, we can throw back into the account. Or actually, what I'm probably going to do with that, honestly, is I'll probably just buy whatever's left over. I'll just do a big Bitcoin or crypto purchase, and we'll get it back in the market on the other side. But that's what we're looking at doing with that. So our credit score, we're down to 726. It was 729, dropped 3 points. Kind of stabilized holding pattern. We'll see after the rest of the credit cards report, because collectively the debt is down. So we also figured out that I needed to tweak how we're utilizing the Cash App to make sure that it falls after our dividend check date for the big dividend check until we get it to where we're getting an adequate amount to cover it every week, or within 2 weeks. We're not gonna be able to just rapid deploy it the way that we work. So I was having to pay it out of the paycheck, and that and the sitting amount that we're pulling from the in-home banking, I want both of those things covered by our dividends. I don't want to have to put my paycheck money back into that. That's not how I want the money to flow. I want the paycheck money to flow in, paying whatever's on the active card off immediately, and then everything else landing in the income portfolio, at least until the income portfolio is covering everything. And then the check can just go into the income portfolio, and then we can use some of the other tools in order to, facilitate some stuff in the interim while we're waiting for those checks to come in. But most likely by that time, we will be having a good substantial amount of income being kicked out every single week, because that's our goal, is to have at least $1,000 a week spitting off from the income portfolio. That's the goal. We've got our picks. Now that it's the month of December, we can start using the wheel strategy that we have over in the income portfolio to start feeding those positions till it gets to a point to where it's ready to start. They're ready to start pitching in. The total amount that we saved this month was basically $4,800. It was actually $4,805, which I am impressed with. Not making six figures, not being close to six figures. That actually is a grip of money. That's the total dollar amount that we had, that we stashed and just kicked right back in to our investments. We had some fat checks. I skimmed a little bit off the checks. I'm actually becoming very apprehensive. like even with the debt, and like this goes back to the you can't talk about financial literacy if you have debt. It's like it's really hard to pay off something when you know something else is going to give you more than that, because you're almost using less. You're building a house, but like not using all the nails. That's how it feels. And so we got these killer monstrous dividend checks from Misty. Got the $2,200, which is a nice lump sum of money. You know, our dividends have eclipsed what our salaried take home is. So like that's not including bonuses or incentives or any of that stuff, but like just my general take home, my dividends have already eclipsed what my take home is. Now, the way that I have my goals set up is I am looking to eliminate the entire salary as it sits right now. And then I want to go past it. So my goal is, and I think I might be able to do this because that's going to be on one of my 2025 goals. I might be able to get to my goal of matching my salary this year. Now, considering I had 36 months, if I can do that, then I should be at 1.5, 2 times the salary, maybe even 3 times the salary, because the portfolio, as we shift out of using our money to hit debt first and being able to put those paychecks directly into that income portfolio and have the income portfolio fund our investments, our livelihood, everything, including reinvestment in the portfolio itself, it starts climbing really fast. Now, as I did the minimum of what I've been investing into this portfolio, it's saying that I'm going to hit my goal in 2025. And then we're going to just be skyrocketing from there because compound interest, growth, all that fun stuff. And like that's just within that one portfolio. That's not including the growth portfolio that is also a part of that. And with that, it's got me really excited, because then I'll have basically 2 years of continuing to work. I'll just be maxing out all my savings, anything that I can do to tuck some money away from the government as far as my W-2 income. And that will go in there, and I'll just cut myself an allotment of fund money out of my dividends also, or pull some cash off to the side to have for doing whatever it is that I need to do. Because I'm not doing anything. Like I'm still going to birthday parties. I'm not going out as much. I've been at home for 6 months. I enjoy my house now. So while I'm not out all the time, I am strategically choosing to go out when I go out, but we're going to start making those experiences and those things more rewarding. And I'm going to over accentuate on, like, if I'm going out, I'm going out. Like I got some walking around money. Gator don't play. And I'll focus on it like that and not have to be out in these streets or out of the house every single weekend unless there's a reason for me to be out. But as we're doing and moving forward, these metrics are going up, and like now it's getting to that point to where the numbers are starting to roll in a little bit faster, and I'm starting to get excited about it because time seems to be going a little bit faster too. Because I woke up and it was like the first week of November, and then it was Thanksgiving, and now it's December. So here we are, which is nice that the results are rolling in faster as well. So the total we saved $4,805. Got it deployed actively in the markets, both crypto, traditional, the long-term investment portfolio. We're starting to throw some funds over in that consistently now. And yeah, when we get those big dividend paychecks and I got like a little bit extra money, I'm squirreling away a little bit of extra money into the long-term holdings portfolio. I'm squirreling away a little bit extra money into crypto, because while I do understand the importance of paying this debt off as fast as possible, I also understand the opportunity costs that I'm shooting myself in the foot on for what's getting ready to happen. And like, we're trying to make sure we capitalize on that. Our income increased $1,292. So almost $1,300 jump over last month's total collective income, which is awesome because we're constantly buying income. Like I look at it like I'm building the ship as it's sailing. I'm always buying, like, that income portfolio is my primary focus because that is how I don't have to go to work anymore. That's the first level of the end game. The second thing that's now starting to pick up my focus is that traditional finance portfolio, because my income is going to be building that as well, but I'd like to have a good nest egg. Crypto, always going to be the deal of last resort. I look at it as my retirement. We don't cash out of crypto. We're always buying Bitcoin. We hit the metric at which I was going to stop buying Bitcoin. And honestly, one of the things that I am looking at potentially doing is shifting over to the traditional finance portfolio, because I am able to get a better return off Bitcoin, and I can always sell those positions off into bull run and then buy the physical Bitcoin, because I do have a lot of Bitcoin. I'm well over my metric for that. Obviously, the Bitcoin that we're buying this year is getting converted and transitioned over to buy Ethereum, because that was what was on the docket for a long-term hold this year. So the Bitcoin standard is being implemented to purchase other things, but we are kicking up our buying in the traditional finance portfolio. We've got MicroStrategy, and then we have a leverage long MicroStrategy play that we're going to be adding in there as we're getting priced out of MicroStrategy because it's going up so fast, which is wild to me. But yeah, so we're gonna start at a certain point. We're probably gonna kick over until we get all the debt cleared. We'll kick over to buying that levered long, and then we'll convert the levered long towards the end of the run over into just my regular MicroStrategy shares. But we had a good increase in income because we're constantly buying that, because it's incomes first. If we got to shed something off and sell something, it'll come out of that long-term holdings portfolio. And then obviously Bitcoin is the income of last resort. Our dividend income, which is another metric that we're actively tracking because we want to make sure we're actively moving in the right direction. We're actively growing the pool. We increased our dividends $466, and I understand a lot of my family over in the Yield Max community, they don't have the faith. They don't understand the underlying assets of basically too much of anything. Like, there's some guys over there that like really know their stuff, but like a bunch of people just post random things with no idea of the underlying asset or why it's moving, and they're really at a disadvantage, and I do really feel bad for them. But it's part of the game. It's like the whole reason that the markets are, they say it's a great equalizer. I think crypto is actually the great equalizer. The traditional finance market is an equalizer of sorts, as long as as far as all of us who would count ourselves as retail investors, we're equal. The hedge funds and everybody else, they're on some different stuff. They're on a different level, and the game is set up for them. We're playing with the scraps, and I don't like playing with the scraps, which is why I'm in crypto. I don't like middlemen. I don't like people in between me, my investments. I don't like people telling me what I can and can't do with my money. But for all intents and purposes, it's an equalizer for everyone who qualifies as retail. All the peasants are equal, regardless of what your income level or your portfolio size. We are all equal. And the equalizer is people just don't know what they don't know. And they're ignorant of things. And that is where the opportunity to make money is, because like these guys come in and they're actively trading something that they probably shouldn't be trading. It's something that you're going to want to hold on to. And then way later on, when the price doesn't go the direction that they thought it was going to go, they're going to be out bad. They're talking about what they could have done. Oh, I really wish I hadn't sold that to get $7,500 instead of waiting the 3 months to get the payout. Or my favorite, don't expect these payouts to last. And it's like, well, considering this asset's never been through a bull run, I don't understand why you would say that when realistically we're getting ready to see a parabolic move in Bitcoin, and therefore a parabolic move in MicroStrategy, which then causes Misty to have that same parabolic move more or less. So I don't know what they're going to, like, if your calls don't miss and you're making a bunch of money on calls, I'm pretty sure you keep high income for that window of time. Now, is that to say that you're going to get those payments forever? Absolutely not. But like, maybe do something smart with the money. That's what I'm doing. But you know, getting that boost of 466, because we're also constantly adding into that position. Also, the other thing that we're doing is we are constantly landing everything in the Misty holding and then spiraling it out. And I just keep a docket of how many shares, and I got to do some mental math the 4th week of the month when my Misty check comes, and I actually go through and parse that out because it's such a strong pair. But also the focus here is to get every position to 1,000 shares. So after we get Misty to 1,000 shares, I might run it up to 1,200 shares so that I have something to sell off if I choose to take some profits on the growth of that position, because I do believe there's going to be some growth. But after we hit that target amount, we'll move to the next position in the wheel, which, since we're starting at the 4th month, that'll be the 1st month, which we're going to bring Tesla back into the fold. And we're bringing Tesla back into the fold. I'm going to reposition. I did a tax loss harvest on that position for the year of 2024, which may or may not help. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to have collectively over $15,000 in write-offs, so I don't know that I'll get any of those benefits. But we went ahead and put it in there to count against. Well, I mean, honestly, it'll count against the sells that I did on Misty when it ran up, because I did sell some early on before I saw what it did to my monthly income. And once I saw that, because like I am in that income portfolio specifically for the income, and I'm like, yo, if selling this is shooting me in the foot as far as this income goes, we're not selling. We're just not going to do it. So we're going to run that up, and we'll probably do all the positions with a cushion so that if there's any additional gains or any additional benefit or growth that we can capitalize on, we have something to sell off. Or honestly, I might run it up to 1,200, and if I don't do sell-offs at the end of the year, I'll transfer some of that over into my actual manual options portfolio, so that way I can start generating some income over there, so that way I can get that portfolio fixed. But yeah, those are the numbers for this month. And one of the things when I reference this is none of this is easy and none of it's overnight. Like I said, we started doing this more or less a little bit after August, because we started the portfolio build out that we're tracking now back in August of 2023. Probably about the start of 2024, I started messing around with some high yield dividends because I was like, oh, this seems pretty interesting. And then after they launched the Bitcoin ETFs, I started finding other products. And then I went down this rabbit hole, ended up finding the Yield Max community, and it's been off to the races since then. So this portfolio build out was less than a year. All the bulk money, like when I cashed out my HSA, I parked it in this first and started paying those debts back with the income that's been generated. I tend to, at this juncture, if I'm making a large payment, it's coming out of a dividend check, if it's a cash payment, versus me taking my W-2 or any income that comes in and not investing it and not getting it in a vehicle to produce money. You have to shift the way that you look at money and what it is, because a lot of these gurus out here, they haven't made the shift yet. Like, they still think that whatever you make on your W-2 and making six figures is actually that important, when most people, honestly, and even when they break down six figures, because they use your income to shame you also. It's either you got to make six figures or you a brokey or you dusty, or six figures isn't enough and you got to go make more. Because, oh, well, you know, after you get like the 40% off of it, you actually only bringing home 60. So the reality of it is you only need 60. like to be honest, So you get a dividend portfolio that produces $60,000 a year, more or less. You can do everything that you was doing and rock out exactly how you was rocking out because that's what you were taking home anyway. And you don't have to go to work and physically slave away for someone, be disrespected by someone, show up to a job you hate just to get the bag, just to go chase the bag, be stressed out indefinitely so you can expire immediately after retirement because you're not even healthy, because you want to go get that bag so that you have Anton not talk about you. But again, people just don't do the math. Like, okay, so if you really want to be rich, if you can get $100,000 in dividends a year, now you rich because that's the equivalent. Oh, actually, hold on. Let me get my calculator out because I want Anton to, because Anton's a C student. I'm probably a D student, which is funny because we can exist in these spaces. Like, you ain't got to be smart to win. You just got to know how money works. That's the game that we're in. And they keep telling you to go rack up these debts to go work indefinitely to go get the bag. And it's like, well, you could do that, or you could just be smart with the money at the start. Like, that's also an option. But 100,000 times 0.4. Yeah, that's $140,000 a year. And you don't got to go to work for that. Now, if you choose to go to work, that's now you just adding to it. You go get that $40,000 a year job, something that's low stress. You just showing up. Everybody think you a dusty, and you making almost 200 grand a year. You making more than your boss does. And you're in control. You can go do what you want to do. You don't have to try to live on YouTube to be a social media influencer. So again, I'm going to tell the truth. As we're documenting the journey, like, we're going to ruffle all the feathers because I'm not trying to live here either. As these portfolios hit, this is a documentation of a journey, of a different path than what the gurus who are selling you things are telling you need, or telling you what they did, or from the mountaintop. Like, this is now. We ain't trying to work till we're 65 now. We're not trying to retire and live off our retirement accounts, which is funny because while the gurus are telling you to live off put everything in your retirement, they're in a different tax bracket than you. So it does benefit them, again, not telling the whole truth, because it lowers their taxable income. If you are making under $70,000, you have next to no taxable income to protect. You are in the lowest tax bracket. It doesn't make sense to see these people that are like, oh yeah, I'm going to retire early. Oh, I've got $300,000 in my 401k. Now I don't have access to it. Now I got to eat this because you're taking a penalty that's over the free money you're getting to get that money out if you decide you want to retire early. So you didn't get any free money. And actually, you lost money. And actually, you're also paying those fees that whole time. So you lost money quite a few times. The math doesn't shake out on it depending on what your intent is. The problem is they give these blanket answers because their communities are so big and dumb that they're just talking to dumb people. And dumb people ain't going to save no money. And that's not what we're doing over here in the Wolfpack. We're telling the truth. We're calling it what it is. Chew the meat, spit out the bone, take what works for you. Don't take what doesn't. Because my situation is not everyone else's situation. I don't have the self-inflicted wounds that a lot of people have. I'm not a living statistic. But what I am doing is letting you know what can work. And like most of these things, because everything that I do is math-based, can work in certain situations. You're going to have to make some adjustments. I had to make some adjustments to get to this point. It is what it is. But if you like the video, definitely hit the like button. If you hate the video, let me know in the comments why you hated the video, and then hit me with that dislike button. If you've been here more than twice, like or hate me, hit the subscribe button, because you need to know when I post so that way you can hate first. You don't want to be the last hater to show up. And for everybody else, you probably want to get these in a timely fashion. You don't want to just see it floating around going, I hate that guy. Those of you who love me, get the information as soon as possible. Turn that bell notification, turn the all to on, because I am not dumping on you guys like that. I am not sitting up in here just unloading my on my feed. I'm not one of those content creators. You get hit every day the first week of the month. Every other week is Tuesday and Wednesday. There might be a notification if I'm doing a live, depending on if it's finance related. If it's not finance related, I'm not going to be doing bag talk, then the notification won't be added over here, because this is just about bag talk. If y'all want to follow me over at Reckless Ray Dinero, that's the original channel. Still another small channel. It's not a micro channel. It's just it's a mini channel. This is a micro channel. This is a mini channel. You guys are more than welcome to tap in with me over there. There's a reference on the front page that goes to that page. It's a little spicy. That's all I'm gonna say. So hopefully you guys had a good Thanksgiving. We're getting into the last month of the year. Let's finish strong, people. Finish strong. Start those New Year's resolutions now. You should have them done. Like, now is not the time to be starting your New Year's resolution. And if you're starting them as you're making them, get started. Get to work. If you're going to get in the gym, start now. Start today. If you're going to start saving a little bit more money every check and putting it into some Bitcoin, putting it into an income portfolio, start now. Start today. The only person who's harmed by procrastination is the person procrastinating, because nobody else is affected by your lack of forward mobility, unless you want to count your lineage. Like, if you're going to have some kids, like if you got people that are relying on you, then you are affecting other people by you waiting. So let's get started, folks. It's your boy, Reckless Ray Dinero, and this has been the November financial update.
Money on my mind, yeah. Focus, got no time for games, nah. I don't play, man, I'm all about that financial literacy. Investing in my future, building generational wealth. Dollar bills, they be calling my name, but I ain't chasing fame, I'm chasing change. Learn the game, now I'm playing it smart. Putting my money to work, it's an art. I'm stacking paper, building my own empire. No more living check to check, I'm getting higher. Investing in stocks, real estate, and more. Gotta secure the bag, that's what I came for.